that's a big part that not wrong, but it's an issue with our people. It's like we'll complain and then not actually vote. Like why would you complain? That's like saying, I mean, I can't stand this doggone leaking roof over my head. Bro, why don't you patch the roof? Man, I ain't got time to be climbing up there, man. Ain't time to be climbing up there. I might fall off. So it's what you're saying is it's possible to stick with it if you really want to keep your child.
And what I'm saying is, I almost died because I almost bled to death.
But
because in certain situations, I am lucky enough to.
I'm gonna ask the obvious question.
Okay,
Would you do it all over again?
Yeah, yes, I would. Hey, welcome back to Black Press. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe.
Now let's get to it.
Hey, what's up? Welcome back to We Are Black Press. It's your girl Trish.
And your boy Mr. Define.
And we're going to jump into some topics right now. So what you got?
So being Halloween, and the day after the final debate with Stacey Abrams and Brian Kemp here in Georgia, which is one of the key states. We are pretty much a purple state. We're going to talk about their debate. It was pretty much the same as the first one. They both, stated their cases, but it was pretty much the same cases. But there was a couple things that kind of stuck out, and the biggest one for us, for me, and for most of Georgians in all America is the cancellation of pregnancy.
I thought you was about to say student debt.
No, they can't do nothing about that. The student debt, student debt. So y'all know student debt right now is on hold.
Yeah,
because it's in the court system, and the cancellation of that is really not happening. But since you talked about student debt, before we even get to that, there's loan forgiveness scammers out there. I almost got caught up one time. I was not with loan forgiveness, but when I was 18 years old, I got that infamous email that said, "Hey, I'm a prince in Africa."
You almost fell for that.
I did. I look, bruh. I was like, I'm finna get some money, and I was standing. I was still living. I was recently graduated from high school, staying home, and I told her, and she was like, "You gave them my address." I got caught up. I thought I was finna roll in the money. But this is funny. It was like he said, he told me he was a prince in Africa, and
sold it, huh?
Yeah, and I was like, oh, that's a nice story. Anyway, don't do what I did. I didn't go all the way through with it. My mom was like, bruh, boy, if you don't stop. So
they would have got your organs or something.
No, it was. What it was is they tried to send. They wanted to send me a check, have me cash it, and send them money. Yeah, I thought I was gonna be rich.
I can't believe you.
Yeah, I was young, dumb, and broke. Young, dumb, and broke. For real, I was young, dumb, and broke. I needed some money, but yeah, you believe anything. But listen. Literally, there's people that are calling out, trying to scam you in order to. They'll give you that. Like, they'll look up say they'll be able to look up how much you owe, and when they give you that information, it makes you trust them to try to give them for you to give them your information so they can try to run that scam on you. So look, the student loan forgiveness is designed by the Democrats and Joe Biden to help us as black people, but don't let yourself get scammed.
Yeah, and it's not just black people.
But no, not yes, but it's designed. Like one of the things is we are the ones that have the most student loan debt, because we go into college with a lot of times being the first gen college students, and we need to be successful so we can take care of mama or dad and or daddy.
Yeah.
So we are the ones that usually have that $20,000. So like it's $10,000 of student loan debt that can be erased or forgiven, but it's $20,000 if you have the Pell Grant. And who gets the Pell Grant? Me, because I did it. But a lot of us, we get the Pell Grant because we are we meet the standard for income that allows us to have the Pell Grant. If you get the Pell Grant, then you get $20,000 versus the $10,000. So either way, don't get scammed. They almost got me back in the day, though. I'm telling you, I thought I was rich. I thought I was finna be rich. My mom was like, "You got it, Landers." Yeah, so don't do it.
Oh man.
But back to Stacey Abrams and Brian Kemp debate. There was a couple things that that I did want to talk about. One thing I did learn, and I'm not really happy about it. I'm not really happy about it because I am for Kemp for state, because I'm a split ticket voter. I vote based off policies and what's going on and what I think is the most important for us. I do not like the fact that Kemp is not for, and I obviously, him being a Republican, I wouldn't expect him to be for it, but the dropping of cash bail. Cash bail is why most of us or our people are in jail. I'm gonna play this video so you can understand a little bit more. Or this sound.
This graph shows local jail inmates in the United States. In the past 20 years, that population has shot way up, and there's something surprising about that rise. You can see it only if you look at inmates with convictions. Around 1999, that population leveled off, meaning most of the rise came from this group, non-convicted prisoners. Every day in the US, nearly 500,000 people sitting in local jails haven't been convicted of anything.
It's true. In fact, right now, roughly 2/3 of our jail population on any given day are people who haven't been convicted of a crime. And most of them are there because they simply couldn't afford to bail themselves out, which is terrible. We shouldn't hold people captive in shitty conditions simply because they can't buy their way out. That is what Spirit Airlines is for. What all this means is that a simple arrest, even for a crime that you did not commit, can destroy your life, because even a short amount of time in jail can completely turn it upside down. And it's often not a short amount of time. Take Marvin Mayfield. He was arrested for a burglary that he insists he didn't commit, and he got stuck in Rikers for nearly a year.
Before you went in, you had started a job, you had secured a place, had a car.
Right.
What happened to all of it?
All of those things, my job, my car, and my place, were all gone after 11 months. I couldn't hold on to it.
It's true. He was in there for 11 months. And obviously, no job is cool with you just not showing up for 11 months, unless, of course, you're this lazy bitch. And all of this is before you get to the fact that holding someone pre-trial can give a prosecutor a huge amount of leverage in obtaining a guilty plea. Again, Marvin Mayfield maintains he was innocent, but he pled guilty anyway.
Listen.
And when you hear him explain why, it makes sense.
After 11 months, they said that if you plead guilty today, you get time served and go home.
So your option was to stay in and fight this case, or you can go home
Or I can
today.
go home today, but another guilty plea to a felony on my record. The worst and hardest blow of everything was to plead guilty to something I didn't do just to stop that suffering.
So that's the one big thing. Look, if this is something that you would be your main voting principle, don't vote for Brian Kemp. Because Brian Kemp is not for revoking cash bail. Because the way they keep us in jail until we have our trial is us not being able to afford the $10,000, $20,000 in order to get us out of jail. So even if we're innocent, we can't get out of jail until our trial date because of the fact that we can't pay the bail. And then you get bail bondsmen, and they're making a crap ton of money. But we can't. If that's what you want to, if that's a big thing for you, it's big for me, but it's not the major thing. And that's when we come into the point where we have to decide what we will, and like when you only have two candidates, you have to say, well, does this candidate give more of what I want, or does this candidate give more of what I want?
There is a third option,
which is
swing voting
a swing vote or a third party vote. But what we're doing is not the right thing. What we're doing is like, well, I don't like neither one of them, so I ain't voting for nobody. I'm not voting.
Yeah, but
That's the wrong answer, bro. Yeah. That's the wrong answer.
When I went to, because I recently, so this past weekend, I was trying to relax. I was like, okay, I'm finally gonna take time to relax. So I sat on the couch, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch Housewives. Turned it on, and then I was like, oh no! I said, you know what? I'm gonna go vote. I'm gonna go vote. I have to make the difference, or make my vote count. So I got up, went to go vote. There was no line. I was shocked.
Yeah.
There was no line.
I went on a weekday and it wasn't a line.
It was so fast and stress free.
Yeah.
There was no line.
I'm gonna post my picture on that.
There's no line. There's no waiting. I went there. The people were nice and courteous.
Yeah. I even had a chat about being airborne with one of the other guys that was there, one of the workers there.
They were nice.
Yeah.
And then I did my voting, and then I walked out, and I was like, wow. It shocked me that there weren't like lines there.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm thinking like, man, this is something that was fought for.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
but should be early voting too, though. Remember that. This is early voting time.
For early vote, even if it's early voting, like I was number like 4,000 and change.
Yeah.
In this county.
You counted? Where did you say that at?
I looked when I was writing my name in the book. I looked and I saw the number.
But Georgia is actually record setting right now. We are record setting for early votes.
Yeah.
We're voting. The early vote is
happening. We're voting, but at the same time, people are procrastinating. What are you waiting for? Get up, get off your bum, and go vote.
But some people are waiting for the actual election day because that's the only day that their job will give them the day off. Or
that's
time
no excuse because you have the weekend. They have Sunday. They have voting on Sunday until like 5 o'clock. Like you have
Brian Kemp did arrange that weekend voting.
Well, you have the opportunity to get up and go out there and vote, regardless of which party that you want to choose. You really have to make your vote count or don't complain.
Yeah,
just sit there and be like, and
that's the thing. Like, that's a big part. That's not wrong, but it's an issue with our people. It's like we we'll complain and then not actually vote. Like, why would you complain? That's like saying, I can't stand this doggone leaking roof over my head. Bro, why don't you patch the roof? Man, I ain't got time to be climbing up there, man. Ain't time to be climbing up there. I might fall off.
And a lot of times it's because they don't understand, or a lot of people don't grasp the concept of what voting is, and they don't understand what they're voting, and they just don't understand.
Yeah, I don't give them that. I don't give them that. I'm not letting you have that out, because
it's all about education, though.
Yeah,
so
but
if
they
you're
know.
Not education,
we know.
You're not educated in it. You know what they tell you, and you know, like, surface level.
Yeah.
But you don't know that, okay, you're voting this person in office, and they can potentially turn the state a different color.
Yeah, but here's
they don't know the depths of it.
My thing is, even if you don't know the whole depth of it, about how everything that voting affects you, every black person know who Martin Luther King is. Yeah. And they're gonna say, for one or two reasons that they know him. They're gonna say the Montgomery bus boycott, or they gonna say voting. You're gonna know two of them.
I would say civil rights.
Civil rights is part of voting. Is part of,
but
yeah. You're gonna. What I'm trying to say, like, what I'm saying is, you got a 50-50 chance of everybody knowing voting happened. Voting rights were attained during civil rights. If you're black, you know Martin Luther King was, and you know, or you have heard of the fact of voting. So if you know it, you make a valid choice not to vote. It's not because you don't know about it. It's not because I don't believe there's any. I don't believe that. Okay, there's some flip phones out there, but there's some flip phones. But most of us, even the oldest of us, have access to social media. They have access to media. We all know. You know.
It's like that.
You know that voting is happening, and you know that you're supposed to vote. And regardless of what you think about how your vote affects things, you know that at least the concept, the dogma of voting affects how you live in this country. Whether or not you choose to make that as an excuse, or an excuse not to vote, or a reason to vote, is by your choice. It's not because you don't know.
But at the same time, I have to throw that monkey wrench in there again. A lot of, as it pertains to black people, some of them aren't eligible to vote because of past felonies,
yes,
things of that nature. So.
Right, but
they don't have a right.
Okay. How much? What's the percentage of that though?
There's a lot.
There's a lot.
I would say they just talked about how much people were convicted.
But also,
convictions.
Also in the debate, they also highlighted that the Biden election, that election season, was one of the highest voting of black people. So that means there's still a lot of people that are actually legally able to vote. So, vote. But the other thing I want to talk about,
and I get that.
Not that. We already talked about that.
He's talking about me. He gets me. We on the same page.
Yo, but so that was off of John Oliver's HBO last week tonight, and this is that concept though is the issue that we have, because a lot of that's HBO. I stopped watching HBO when the black box was no longer available. You know, you pay the cable guy an extra $30 to get that black box that's that's open. What do we call them? Broken in now. But it's an HBO special, and that's why we need to. I wish we had more access to that knowledge. So that's bill reform. Last week tonight with John Oliver. Look that up. Watch that whole episode because that's very important. So what I actually want to talk about on the next part is well, they asked the candidates and the incumbent, what is your view on the termination of, what term are we using?
Canceling fetuses, termination of
Yeah, canceling fetuses. And this is what they said. First, it's Kim.
Let me press you a bit on that. If the legislature passes a more restrictive abortion law, abortion bill, would you sign that bill?
Well, I'm not going to count on, say yes or no to any specific piece of legislation without actually seeing exactly what it's doing. It's not my desire to go move the needle any further on this issue. We've been dealing with this issue for 3 years. That's where the General Assembly was. I personally don't see a need to go back, but when you're governor, you have to deal with all kind of legislative issues that are out there. So we'll look at those when the time comes. But again, my focus is going to be on helping Georgians fight through the 40-year high Joe Biden inflation that's been caused by disastrous policies in Washington, D.C. And we're going to be, our first order of business is going to do another tax rebate, to do property tax relief, to help Georgians to be able to cope with going to the grocery store or the gas pump.
So let's be clear, he did not say he wouldn't. We know that he has praised the Texas bounty system that allows neighbors to make $10,000 by reporting on women. We know that under the law that he signed, women can be investigated for miscarriages and other pregnancy losses, and that 52 counties have said that they indeed will pursue those investigations because they don't think they have a choice. We know that under this governor, women are in danger. Georgia is already #1 for maternal mortality, and it is only going to get worse when women are forced to carry pregnancies, when 1 in 5 women in Georgia does not have health insurance before pregnancy, will be compelled to carry that pregnancy to term. And while there has indeed been improvements in Medicaid to provide access for women during pregnancy on the first birthday of that child, that health care goes away. Brian Kemp does not have a plan for the lives of the women who are being forced to carry pregnancies to term that are unwanted pregnancies. But more importantly, he refuses to protect us. He refuses to defend us. And yet he defended Herschel Walker, saying that he didn't want to be involved in the personal life of his running mate, but he doesn't mind being involved in the personal lives and the personal medical choices of women in Georgia.
Yo, let me start out by saying, yep, Herschel Walker, horrible candidate. Just want to boost her up on that. Like I said, I'm a split ticket voter, so Herschel Walker is trash. Trash. And more trash. But here is a very big topic. Termination after consummation. What do you think? What do you think?
What do I think? Well, I think. I not only think, I believe that it is the woman's right to choose and decide what she wants to do with her body. It's her body that's carrying the pregnancy. It's her body that's most of the time is in jeopardy of it's life. It's the female's body is the life that sustains the life that's within them. So if it's their choice, then it's their choice. This shouldn't even be a debate in politics.
Is that what you really
it's
want?
a health concern. Of course.
Yeah.
Because the only, especially when it comes to like health concerns, So if that person is in a dire health need and they have no choice but to go along with that line,
Mm-hmm.
then they should be able to do so because it's medically necessary.
Mm-hmm.
So why would you want that person to carry the term? There's different types. There's so many different scenarios that can happen. They can have, like me myself, I had placenta previa, but I didn't. My son is 11. He's 11, but I was on bed rest from the time I was 3 months.
Well, you sound a whole lot better when you get close to the mic.
I was on bed rest for about 3 months.
Yeah.
So I almost bled to death. Like I could have lost everything, not just myself and my child, but I could have lost everything. But I stuck with it.
So what? So it's what you're saying is it's possible to stick with it if you really want to keep your child.
And what I'm saying is I almost died because I almost bled to death.
But
because in certain situations, I am lucky enough to.
I'm going to ask the obvious question.
Okay.
Would you do it
lucky
all
enough,
over again?
Yeah, yes, I would. I'm lucky enough to be blessed and know that I'm covered by God, so I can do things. Not everybody has that covering. So if you have a woman that is faced with a certain
that covering. That's all.
That's a whole other topic.
Oh no, stop.
But if you have a woman that's faced with that same type of issue, she has low iron and she has other health concerns that play into that role,
right?
Then she has no choice but to do it, or she's gonna die, and her and that child is gonna die. My child was born at 34 weeks. By the time I was 3 months, they called it abortus immitus.
Mm-hmm.
That means that's a miscarriage.
Yeah.
So you have to take into account your health and make the best decision that you can for yourself. Other people are not gonna be there helping you carry that baby, helping you pay for the medical things that you're gonna incur with carrying that child. They're just saying, "Oh, you're pregnant. You got to keep that baby." They're not there afterwards when that child needs diapers. They're not there afterwards when that child needs when they come out, when they have that issue and they come out in their special needs. They're not there helping with that. So who gives you the right to say what can be done with someone's body if
What's
you're not
the
there
difference?
to help?
Well, I would say it's the equipment. And
I'm gonna go back.
maternal mortality, and it is only going to get worse when women are forced to carry pregnancy.
Able to cope with going to the grocery store or the gas pump.
So let's be clear, he did not say he wouldn't.
This-
We know
my
that he has
point is-
praised the Texas bounty system that allows neighbors to make $10,000 by reporting on
She
women.
says
We know that under the law that he signed,
1
women
in
can be
5
investigated for
women.
miscarriages and other pregnancy losses, and that 52 counties have said
no
that they
help.
indeed will pursue those investigations because they don't think they have a choice. We know that under this governor, women are in danger. Georgia is already #1 for maternal mortality, and it is only going to get worse when women are forced to carry pregnancies, when 1 in 5 women in Georgia does not have health insurance before pregnancy, will be compelled to carry that pregnancy to term.
My thing is one part of what gets me is why is that always the jump to
What's that?
when we talk about women's rights to have access to that type of medical care? Why is it automatically the immediate jump through that there are complications?
Because if you don't account for the complications, then you're not looking at the vital things that can happen.
Okay, I'm gonna go with the opposite side to that answer.
Mhm.
If I strictly talk about the complications, then I don't have to talk about all of the babies and children that would be in this world without complications.
And
If
who's
I
gonna-
only focus
and who's
on
gonna
the
help
complications,
who's going to help take care of them?
the person that made the choice to have them.
No, they didn't make the choice. They were forced.
Did they make the choice? Ooh, let's get in that. The choice.
Okay.
Let's get in choice. Right? And I used it before. We talked about it before. If I get in a car,
We're not using the car scenario. We're not using the car scenario. Because it's two people that make a conscious decision to get together. But that's not always how it goes.
Okay, two people in a conscious decision.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's go with that one then.
Okay.
Two people in a conscious decision,
Mhm.
right? If two people are in a conscious decision to engage in intercourse,
Mm-hmm.
that can result in having a child.
Mm-hmm.
If the man doesn't want to have the child, but the woman does,
Mhm.
does the man have any effect on what she chooses?
Once he pushes out whatever is in his body into the female, it's
Mhm.
no longer
It's
his.
no longer his choice.
It's no longer his.
Right.
Yes.
Why?
Because it's like it's not his.
But why?
It get DNA.
What's
Why?
what's the justification for why he doesn't get to choose after that?
Okay, do a grocery drop off. Leave your groceries on the side of the sidewalk, and the next person that comes and picks it up, you can't say, "Oh, that's mine. That's mine. Please put that back."
Are you calling a
You
woman
left
a
it there.
sidewalk?
Hmm?
Are you calling a woman a sidewalk?
No, I'm saying
But your analogy is the woman is a sidewalk.
no.
What is?
That's not it.
So what is it? I'm listening to you and I'm understanding that you're trying to create analogies.
So if you make a deposit and you deposit, all right. Say you deposit. I'm gonna do something else because I just went left.
Okay, yeah, but
You make a deposit into somebody. You make a deposit into somebody else's bank account. Just like I think it was.
you can get that
Jack.
back. You
He
can get that back.
he deposited his money into somebody else's account. You don't get that back. It's not yours no more.
No, you can get that back. That's
You
called
can't.
if they spend their money knowing it's not theirs and stuff, they can be held accountable for that.
Well,
But let's go back to the sidewalk part, though. Let's go back to the sidewalk. Hold on, wait.
All right, back to the sidewalk.
So you're saying that if somebody drops the groceries at the sidewalk and somebody else comes and picks them up,
See, it doesn't even have to be the sidewalk. It could be somebody else's house.
right?
You drop your groceries off. Oh, I'm gonna drop this off. Ah, dang. Let me go get those groceries. I think I need it.
Mm-hmm.
Or those groceries are mine. It's not yours no more. You dropped
Right.
it off.
So that means the groceries have to come into the house and into the refrigerator until they're consumed. So once you bring them into your house, they're your groceries.
Mhm.
At what point do they not become your groceries?
When you defecate.
So when those groceries are pushed out,
In process.
so they're processed, so therefore they're your groceries.
Mm-hmm.
Until you decide to either throw them away or push them out.
Mm-hmm.
What are you likely going to do? You're going to consume them and push
Mhm.
them out. So by your analogy, should they not still be able to, like you said, gestate?
What's that?
They should still be there. Like,
What, the groceries?
yeah.
So the groceries would be
So
children. No, so if you don't want it,
You throw it away.
Yeah.
So you're saying you should just throw the child away?
No. If the groceries is bad, now say it's spoilage.
But what if it's not spoiled?
You don't know it's not spoiled. In cases where it is spoiled, you're not going to consume
Okay,
spoilage.
this went so far left. This is way off.
It's actually not, because that spoilage can relate to a spoiled a spoiled.
Yeah, we get it. We get it.
You got it.
But my point is, if once he drops off that gamete, we'll go biology terms. Once he drops that gamete, it's no longer his choice. Once she brings that gamete inside of her home or body, why is it her choice?
You really trying to argue this?
I'm just asking the question. Why is it her choice?
Because it's her body that is giving the nutrients. It's her body that's giving her body. Her life is giving life. So without that, can you have a pregnancy without a woman? Have scientists been able to create a in utero effect to create a child?
No, but they've
not
been able to create sperm either.
You have to have both, but you definitely have to have.
And you definitely have to have the first one too.
Yeah, but
what's the definitely? So what about choice? Like, so you're saying once he's made the choice, his choice is done. He doesn't have any more.
So the baby's born, and then you have to.
But what if the baby doesn't get born?
If the baby doesn't get born,
that's my. So that's then he has to take responsibility.
He does, because it's something that.
But she gets to choose whether or not she's going to take responsibility.
No, because once the baby's born, both of you have responsibility.
No, but she chooses whether or not she is willing to have that responsibility.
No.
Her body, her choice. So she chooses whether she wants to have that responsibility of a child.
Okay.
My point is, at which point or why does his choice stop at the dropping off of the groceries, but her choice of after receiving the groceries, she still is the sole proprietor of making the choice.
They should make men carry babies so they can figure out why they could. Yeah, so they can figure out why does she get to carry the baby to term? You want to get
no?
Would you like to have a uterus to carry?
What I'm saying is, if it's equal rights, if it's equal, and then the choice should be equal. And if his choice is done at the conception, her choice should be done at the conception, unless there are complications.
So you feel like men should have a choice if the female has the child or not?
Yes. And if they should have a choice if the female has a child or not, because they don't have a choice whether or not they're going to pay child support. But why does the female get an extra choice?
Because it's her body that is carrying that child.
Right, but it's his finances that are going to be pulled for the rest of the child's life.
So when you're a female and you're carrying that child, most of your time, energy, and everything is spent in making that child.
Yeah.
You have to go to doctor's appointments. Half the time the the male carrier doesn't even come to the doctor's appointments. You have to go to doctor's appointments. You have to make sure you stay hydrated. You have to make sure you're eating the right things.
Yeah.
You have to make sure you get enough rest.
At
It's
what
a job.
At what point does she make that choice whether or not she wanted to do that?
Sometimes it's not always a choice.
What makes it not a choice?
When you went all the way too far in the pregnancy.
Right.
It should be up to a certain point. It's not a choice. You can't be like
up to a certain point, it's not a choice. So are we saying? But we're discussing the point of the choice.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to talk about the choice, not when you can't make a choice anymore. At what point does she have to make the choice of whether or not she wants to do everything after the baby comes?
Women have to have the choice because they do most of the work of making the child.
So
all men do is shoot out their body, and then boom, they create a new human being. With that responsibility comes the knowledge that, okay, I've created this child, so yes, I'm financially responsible for that child and the well-being of the child, and sometimes the child and the mother. Now, when it comes to choices, and a female is presented with the choice of whether or not to carry the child, sometimes they decide, okay, I'm not going to do this by myself. I know he's not going to be a father to my child. It's going to be me by myself. Most people in those cases terminate the pregnancy, or they may terminate it because health issues, or they may terminate it because they were forced to have that child. It's so many different reasons why a woman would terminate.
Just by family?
By family, by rape, incest, things of that nature.
No, I'm not. I'm talking about when she literally chooses to lay down and have a child. That's what you have to this is what gets me.
Mm-hmm.
We choose when and when not to decide that a woman is fully capable of doing anything that she could imagine doing.
So when two people lay down to create a child, it's not just about
when we talk about how awesome women are, we say women can do anything. But when we talk about creating a child, it is always two people. But that's not the case because two people are there at that moment, but everything else past that is just the woman. It's her decision, right? It's her choice. She gets to make all the decisions, but she doesn't have to hold up to the fact that the main first decision was her choice. We want to make sure, see, exactly. It's always both their choice, only until conception happens, and then after that, it's only her choice. She gets to do whatever she wants to do. So we can say, but if it's both their choice at conception, then it should be both their choice throughout the rest of it, or it should be nobody's choice. But we only want to say that it's only the women's choice. So she gets all of the rights, and he gets all of the bills, or the bills that he has to pay, which is child support.
No. So when a woman is pregnant, the father of the child, he's not, majority of the time, he's not covering the medical expenses.
But does he get the
She's
opt out?
covering the medical expenses. It's not like somebody has a child and be like, okay, since I carry this child for 9 months, here's the bill for this child. You gonna help me pay this bill.
Is that not still her choice though?
To have the child?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still her choice.
Right.
It's a choice. You should be at liberty to.
So if she makes the choice,
make your own choices.
If she makes the choice to have the child, and he doesn't want her to have the child, he's still held accountable. So basically, you're saying after conception, the woman has all the choices, gets all the rights, and the man is just subject to the first choice. But if we say my body, my choice, and termination should be allowed, then she gets another choice. So therefore, she gets all the choices from the conception all the way through, and he just has to have the conception and then be stuck with whatever she wants. Why is it that women have it in their head that they get all the choices but get none of the responsibility when
But
it
they
comes
do
to
get the
when it comes to
responsibility.
when it comes
that's
to
the part. That's the part you miss.
when it comes to them being held accountable in their minds and across the legal system.
Because men don't be listening.
No, but what I think I want to say is because women will still want what they want. And if I'm going to have this child, the only choice you got to make was that you lay down with me. After that, you don't get any choices. But I still get to choose to put you on child support. Where is it that we start to have the concept that, hey, you made a conscious decision?
Okay. All right. So with that being said, do you think men should start paying child support at conception? Since we're going to take it all, since they want women to carry pregnancies all the way through, they should start paying child support at conception and also helping with the medical expenses towards carrying that child.
Yes. You know why? Because if the child is carried all the way through, she will be more deliberate in her choices of who she lays down with without conception.
But that's not fair to place all blame on
It's not
on the
no,
women.
But no. I'm not placing all blame on women. I'm saying he will also be more deliberate in who he chooses to lay down with without conception.
If you put it in that sense, then yes.
Yes.
It takes two people. It's not just one.
Right. But if there is no choice, if we go back to you, the issue with it is the I'm not going to say current because it's not current anymore, but the previous ability to terminate child's life has made it easy for us to do what we want freely without consequences or burden or any type of responsibility. So we need to get back to where our actions have not always consequences, but that we give validity to results of actions. There's too much of us wanting to be free, happy, fun, and after that, if I'm not still free, happy, or fun, I want out. And then yes, there's a lot of women who have not chosen that path, but the path should be chosen before you lay down, not after the fact. The choice is in the wrong spot. We're making the wrong choice at the wrong spot. Wow, I just thought it is your body, your choice. But you're making the choice at the wrong moment in time. Make the choice before you have to make the worst choice. Because that's the worst moment in time when you have to make a choice. Am I going to have this child and support them for 18 years plus? That's the worst choice. Or am I going to terminate it? That's the worst decision you can have to make. Make the right decision before that one. That's the
You didn't
issue
look at the
we're
camera.
having.
You didn't look at the camera. Stop looking at me because I make wise decisions.
Right, okay.
Look at the camera.
Make the right
and tell the people.
Make
the right
decision before you have to make the hard decision.
Okay.
Boom.
That's better.
Put that one in the bar. Make the right decision before you have to make the hard decision.